Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn, and this is a special edition of Sunday Morning Hangover. This is Jason.
And this is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day is The House That Jack Built from 2018, right before the wonderful pandemic.
Yeah.
Uh, Still fairly new to a certain extent, so just want to give everyone a spoiler warning before we start off the episode.
Which is, I guess the only thing you can kind of spoil is what do you believe is happening with the narration? Because that's my first question to you.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you first heard like this, there's this conversation that's kind of happening in the
hmm
background. Like it starts off with like a long
It's just,
black screen of them
yeah,
talking, and it's two voices,
hmm
and one voice is the main
Jack.
character who is a serial killer,
hmm
and there's this other voice that you kind of don't know. But what did you believe that was?
I thought it was a conversation. I almost thought it was like him speaking to an officer about what he
Mm-hmm.
had done. Because yeah, there was no context, and then even as the movie progressed, they didn't really give context of like who he was
Do you still
or like,
know?
hmm?
You still don't know.
Well, is it the devil,
So so
or it's like
like
someone that's helping him transition to the afterlife, right?
so basically, what I get is this is Dante's Inferno, or the Divine
Ah,
Comedy. And so I've never read it myself, but I've heard
mhm.
like explanations of it. And so Virgil is the person that's guiding Dante through the layers of hell,
Okay, which is
and
basically what
which
that
is
guy
what
was doing.
happens basically.
hmm
And but when I first heard his voice, I was like, I went through like a couple theories. I was like,
hmm
either he's talking to a priest, sort
Yeah,
of
because
kind
that,
of happens like that, like
yeah,
it sort of turns into that.
confessing my sins. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of like, or it's I was like, either he's talking to a priest because he's about to get executed, like almost
hmm
like kind of like last rites, which is more so.
Yeah.
Patty thought he may have been like a psychologist, just like, hey, we want to know what is going on, like why did you do all this stuff?
hmm
And then towards the end, I was like, he's already dead. And then but I was like, I don't know who he is,
Yeah.
and why he's talking to him. But then it kind of goes into it, and they tell you all this stuff in the epilogue, right? Because it kind of like refeeds
What
some
had
of the
happened?
lines and
Yeah.
everything, and he's kind of taking this journey. I was actually kind of amazed. I was like, "Whoa, this is like a modern take on Dante's Inferno."
But it's crazy, like, so I love this movie. I had seen it before. I
Have
suggested it
you?
to you. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
forgot you saw it. I was like, man, I
hmm
was amazed by this movie. This
I
was a
loved
very
it.
good movie.
Yeah, that's the one thing is like it's something we get into later, but you can't recommend this to everyone
Oh no,
because
I
it
docket
comes
some
out of left
points
field. Yeah,
because it's pretty intense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like when I don't remember how I found out about it because it wasn't something that was at least I don't remember it being like highly publicized in like theaters or on blogs. So I don't remember how I came across it, but I remember coming across and being like, I'll check it out and being amazed and freaked out. And then being like, okay, there's really nobody I could recommend this to. And then slowly being like, oh, I can recommend it to this person and this person. And the people I have recommended it to loved it. Like you're one of them. And then one of my other friends loved it also. And but yeah, it's not for everybody.
Why do you think it's not for everybody? I think that's like a good question.
I think because of they show everything. I think because of how gruesome some of the scenes are.
Mhm.
Like Saw, you know what you're getting into. Like the trailers kind of show you, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be intense. People are gonna lose their lives or lose body parts, whatever. This, no, they kind of kept that a secret, like A24. Like to give you a little bit of a gist, but nothing like what actually takes place in the movie.
And also the intensity doesn't come fully from the gore aspect. It's like how like up close and personal it is,
Yeah.
especially with the two kills that he had where he strangled the people. It's
Oh
very
yeah, because you're
kind
right
of,
there.
yeah, aggressive, and granted it is aggressive.
Yeah.
Um but and then Patty said that the worst thing that she watched was when he killed the family, and she was like, that
Oh,
was like the
dude.
hardest thing to watch.
When I first watched, like the first time I watched this, because it's been, I think I watched it. I watched this the first time during the pandemic, so it's been a couple years. But the first time I saw it, I was like, "There's no way," because they like lead you into it. Like he's at this location, he has a weapon, but you're like, it's a movie. There's no way they can do that in a movie. And then he does it. You're like, oh, this is one of those. Okay,
And then like the weird the explanation of what's going on in his mind too, where he's
yeah,
like he like
a piece of art.
justifies,
Yeah.
yeah, but also like with the family he justifies like
Oh, how
you
he
you
did it.
have to kill the young ones
Yeah.
first, because if you kill the older one first, the young ones inevitably will die. And he kind of
Mm,
contributes them, or like, or kind of like says that
compares
they're
them to
almost like
deers.
deer
Hmm.
and everything. And so if you kill the older one, the younger ones will die. But if you kill the young ones and the older one gets away, they can still kind of fend for themselves and
Yeah.
stuff. And so, um, but
Like
but yeah,
that
that
was
was intense.
gruesome. I I I enjoy. Well, this is tough to say, but I enjoyed the camera work.
Mhm.
Like if they would have had the camera static just on a tripod as all of this played out, it wouldn't have had the same impact. But the fact that
If
it
it was
felt like you were a
like a
fly on the wall,
widescreen, yeah.
yeah, like you're a fly on the wall watching as like this family realizes what's going on, and you're just in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat, and you're just like, there's no way this is actually gonna happen. And then it happens. Yeah.
I kind of saw this as like The Office, but serial killer. Like it's like a documentary that you,
It
because like
felt like it,
that's what
yeah.
adds to the tension and the
Hmm.
uneasiness, because I say this a lot, and like movies are supposed to be made where you feel like the person that's there
Yeah.
in the scene, but this one you definitely feel
You feel you're
like you're
there.
helping along with the murders or something, or you're
Yeah.
just like the camera guy is you basically.
Well,
And even
especially,
when it goes through the walking through hell, like when they
oh
go
yeah,
into, and
when they were in
the
that
camera
water and
guy
they
is
were
like
ducking and
leaning under,
everything.
yeah,
Hmm.
so you feel more like you're there with them too.
Yeah. Well, even that, I think it was the first strangulation when he goes to the lady's house
Mhm.
and then he ties her to the car.
Yeah,
That
right.
one, like the cops show up and you're like, oh, he's done. Like this movie's over. And then he had already hid the body and then just drive down the street. And you're like, he's going to get caught. Look at all this blood. And then it starts raining. And you're like, how in the world did this man get away with this?
And it's like, and he
It's,
even says it during the little interview where it's like, I don't know if it's divine intervention or just
yeah,
pure luck, and it's more so
that's
that
pure luck
that
for
it's,
sure.
I think so.
Yeah, like just starts raining after you did what you did. Come on. Well, even
I
the Uma Thurman, like her basically forcing herself in the car, and then her making all these jokes, and then it came
and
true.
then getting the,
The
I did not
stapler.
know
Oh, it
that that
wasn't a
was
stapler. It
Uma
was a
Thurman.
jack. Really?
I had no clue. Patty, I was
Oh
like, why
wow.
is Uma Thurman credited in this movie?
Yeah.
And Patty was like, that's the first lady. I was like, I didn't know that was her. But it's pretty good. Uma Thurman's in two movies of like serial killers, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't know. I think, like, I think this kind of delves into like why most like true crime has like a resurgence, or like a kind of
Hmm.
like a passion, so to speak. I think it's kind of hard to kind of speak it, like subject matter of like people actually being killed, even though this is like all theoretical, right? It's like this is not
Yeah.
based off a true story.
Yeah. It's not like
But
Monster.
yeah, it's not like a true story, but like I think the interest with true crime and just like stories like these is because you want to kind of hear the person's kind of like
Side.
understanding of
Yeah. Or like why they
why
did
this
it.
happens, like an explanation. And
Yeah.
it does kind of give like the whole light post explanation where his shadow kind of drags out in front
Hmm.
of him, and then it gets bigger and bigger behind him, and that's his pain until he finally releases.
Yeah.
Um, it was like, whoa, like that's like a kind of like complex way of understanding that. And I wonder like how much research did the writer and director kind of put into this.
They had to put a good amount because even I considered, in my notes, I considered it the OCD sequence when he strangles a woman in her home and then he gets in the car ready to go. And he's like, oh no, I forgot something. And he just
Mm.
continuously goes back in the house to check to make sure it's like spotless. And even walks in with the cop. It's like,
And
who
this was
would think
checking
of this? Yeah, who would think of including this in a movie? So they probably did a good amount of research.
and that is actually like I can't like I deal with like tendencies like that, and that is exactly like how you feel. You're like, and you start like picturing in your head, and you're like, I have to go back and check.
Yeah,
It's like I like I used to have this tendency, or I still do. I check the window on my car, and so you see my fingerprints on the window. It's because when I lock my car, for some reason I believe my window's open, even though I never open up the window. So I have to go just tap it real quick, and then it kind of like clicks in my mind. All right, you never opened it, or it's
yeah.
not open anymore. So it I wrote that down as a note too. I was like, this is like a realistic kind of
Hmm.
visualization of OCD and stuff, and how it kind of like, and then imagine being a serial killer and then having to
Yeah.
like deal with all
So
that. He's like,
I have a question for you. How did he not get any DNA on any of these crime scenes?
I think this is to the point of like of the time period. I'm assuming it's a time period that no one really cared about DNA. Like
Mm,
DNA existed,
yeah,
but I don't think it was a time period where like they're all like they took your fingerprint, but are they going to be able to like check it
actually
across millions of
match it to
people?
anything.
Yeah, no. I think nowadays you're seeing that happen where it's like
Yeah,
that's why people that killed in the 70s and 80s are
or
getting
just
caught
getting.
now because they
Hmm.
can kind of figure it out now with modern technology. But I think that's like he was leaving DNA everywhere because he's
Yeah,
going into houses with no like basically no
no
gloves on and all
gloves. He
that.
had gloves in his freezer though, and it's like you just did something to someone. What are you doing? Yeah, okay, because they don't touch on the time frame, and then even the way the people dressed, they dress like that now,
Yeah,
but
because
they
I kind
didn't
of
show a
thought this
cell
was in
phone.
Canada. Like because
Mm,
I kind of got some Canadian like accent. I think with
yeah,
the first lady Uma Thurman character, which
mm,
I didn't know, but and I was like, I don't know where this is at, and I think that also adds to like
the
the
mystique of the film.
possibility of this happening, no matter what.
Yeah,
Like you don't know where it's happening, when it's
or
happening too.
when.
Yeah,
I like that though. I like that you can kind of be immersed in the film, but not understand where it is or when it is. Because my take was like, okay, this dude's for sure going to get caught with his DNA, but you were like, no, this is probably before that. So we watched the same film, but had different views on when and where it took place.
yeah. It was. I think it's kind of what's nice because you're watching this and you're asking yourself a lot of questions.
Hmm.
One because it is like that documentary feel where like you're there with them, but then also you're there trying to answer questions of like why isn't someone getting caught? Why?
Yeah,
And it also more his confidence goes up a little bit more. Like eventually he says his OCD kind of goes away, and then he's like whatever. Like that's why he like walks around with blood all over him and everything.
yeah, he didn't
Like he
care.
just kind of has like no care in the world
And
anymore.
then snitching on himself. I have 60 bodies. It's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get
And then
caught.
to know that he's a psychopath and not what people believe a serial killer is always a sociopath.
Sociopath.
Like Patty and I were looking it up like during the movie and stuff, and it's like psychopath and sociopath are not used as terms anymore.
Hmm.
It's all like antisocial disorder. But like a psychopath truly has no remorse or no understanding of like
What they're doing.
why and like in the movie he's practicing emotions, and
Yeah.
so it was like, oh, like let me see how like happy I am and stuff, and it's like you can tell it was good, a good acting on this dude's part too, because
Oh,
it's
Matt
like
Dillon. Yeah.
yeah, this is a good role for him, and it actually was kind of like a very good movie from him because like where else is Matt Dillon? Like he's kind of always been kind of like the side
Thought he was
guy
like
or something.
heartthrob type of, not heartthrob, but that it guy in the film.
Yeah, like
Never
sort of like Heath
this.
Ledger before he became Joker.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Like he's the love interest of someone in the film, but he's not the main character.
Yeah.
But
So
this one, yeah, he
I
came out swinging. He didn't care.
and I wonder if it's just because like it's good casting, I'm assuming, but then also like it just
Great casting.
Matt Dillon really enjoyed the story and stuff and was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. Nothing can prepare you. Like, nothing can prepare you for that film. Like, it's
No,
not overly scary, overly horrific, but it's just one of those ones that sticks with you.
I think this is like sort of like the same like emotion that I came out of it was with like Hereditary, where you're just more like I'm fucked up for like a good
Mm.
week or so. Like I'm gonna be thinking
Hereditary
about
did
this
mess
for
me
a
up,
while.
yeah. I
So
still get glimpses of Hereditary to this day.
yeah,
It's been
yeah. I'm
years.
like laying in bed with Patty. I was like, Patty, what's that shadow in the corner?
Get my flashlight. Get my flashlight, please.
But yeah, it's like this is. I'm surprised how good this movie is.
Hmm.
But in terms of like a negative, what do you think? Like, do you
I
see any
wasn't the
downside?
biggest fan of the ending.
Yeah, like how
Yeah,
he
like I
falls in.
yeah, how he falls in, but just how it transitions from him being unable to open that door for so long, and then he opens the door, and that was his passage to the other side. For some reason, I remember seeing it might have been a deleted. I don't remember how I saw it, but and I could have imagined it honestly, but I could have swore I saw a scene like he gets out, like he did, and goes to hell, but the police officers actually find the cop car that he was in, that he drove over, and the siren was going off, and they track that car back to that location, and then they free all of those people that he had lined up that he was ready to shoot with a single bullet.
Yeah, I assume that happened
I
because
don't
they
remember
like
seeing that when
drilled
I
through
watched it
the
out.
door
Yeah,
and
but they
then
didn't
like they
show that other side of it.
well like I guess I assumed it and everything because
Yeah,
like then he like transitions into like this death sequence
yeah,
and then you assume he died, but you assume maybe the cops killed him while kind of entering the room and stuff,
because
and
they
then
were
they were able
shooting
to
through the
free.
door. Yeah,
Yeah, stuff like that. But if they, I don't know, yeah, maybe there was a scene that like it
I
shows
thought
them
there
kind of
was,
like
and I might be tripping. Uh, I might. I'll search YouTube or something. They may have it. Deleted scene. The house that Jack built. Oh, and then the house he built was crazy.
well,
Not
it makes
like
sense. I
it
think it
makes
makes
sense, but it's
sense.
like that's the house. I'm
Yeah,
thinking because he's making a house, but then he's making a house, and you're like, no.
but yeah, but then it goes with like the whole like his thought process of artwork and then use of
Yeah,
material and it's like that desensitization of like it's not humans anymore, it's material.
yeah,
and
which is
and you saw it with like
insane.
the second girl he strangled because he didn't call her by her name, he called her like simple.
Yeah, he
um
was talking bad to that lady.
yeah, but I think that was like a look into that he doesn't
He
like
doesn't actually
placing
connect.
a name to somebody is like
Yeah.
what we do, like
Hmm.
you're Kai, but him he's like you're just some other person or other thing
You're
to
just
me.
an object.
Yeah, and I think that was like a good kind of like understanding of that.
Mm. I
But
didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I don't know. This was like a very interesting um play to it. For me, I didn't get the music. Like some of the music that are like that one song that they kept going to where he's like it was like more of like an upbeat song. I
Hmm.
was like maybe it's like a way to like kind of cut the mood and stuff and like kind of like it's more of like how his mind probably like
Oh, it's functioning.
functions throughout this like kind of like these menial tasks like when he's just doing random things.
Yeah.
But I was like I don't know, I just feel like I felt like that was kind of weird. Some of the hard parts were like even though like the camera work was very good, there was a lot of like transitions to like smaller ratios. It was like a
Oh yeah, the
always kind of like
aspects.
moving, yeah,
Yeah,
to different aspect ratios and stuff. And so, but it had a purpose. Like it was a lot of times like that person on the
him with the cue
piano or
card
like
and stuff.
yeah, the cue card stuff. But I think for me that's kind of like it's the music choices and then also like sometimes like going back and forth from those aspect ratios. But it almost adds to the chaoticness of the movie too.
Yeah, because there's no, I don't know what kind of music I would have actually enjoyed with that. Because there's
I've
just
had
so much. Yeah,
it.
there's so much going on. I didn't. So that's one thing I didn't like. I remember hearing the music, but it didn't connect. I was more just watching the visuals and just how everything played out.
There was this one song I can't recall it right now, and it just kept like every time I heard it, I was like, oh, this seems kind of like off, weird and stuff, I'm assuming it has a purpose, but I was like, all right, whatever. Like this is kind of like part of the
That's
movie,
what
I
they
guess.
chose. Yeah,
But I don't know. Yeah, that's sort of like I think it bodes for the rating that I give, but it also no matter what, I think we've kind of said it's a very tough watch because
yeah,
it's fairly intense and visceral. I think is a very like easy word to use in this
for
context and stuff.
sure.
But yeah, in terms of like recommending it and all that stuff, there's a select few I think you would recommend
Yeah,
it to.
I think so. Now that we're talking about it, I think someone that is into true crime docuseries may be into it, but it's giving them that disclaimer before they watch it of like, this is intense. Like you watch those Netflix docuseries, but this is different.
Yeah, because like I think about my mom. Like my mom watches Dateline and all those like
Hmm.
ID channels, but I don't know if she would be open to watch this. I really
Yeah,
don't know.
because for
I'm
those
gonna
you don't
talk to her tonight,
see,
so maybe
yeah,
maybe
those
I'll
you don't
tell her about
see
it.
what happened. You see the aftermath. This you're watching, and then you see the aftermath also, and you're like, okay, I just saw this whole thing play out.
Yeah, but I think
Um,
anybody that you have in your life that like is has like a psychology background. I know anybody that goes to college probably has like a psychology degree and stuff. I'm one of those,
I am
but
not, but
yeah, Kai's not,
by
but
proxy, I am because of you.
I think, but I think anybody that has sort of like a background in psychology and stuff. I don't know. Maybe people that do like psychology probably won't
Yeah,
like this movie and stuff. You never know. But you're probably gonna hit it pretty well with like a lot of like true crime people.
yeah,
But even Patty said she loved it, but it
hmm
was a tough watch. Like
yeah.
it's like probably one of those movies you watch once and never watch again.
Oh, my crazy self watched it
Yeah, you
twice,
watched
so
twice.
I got to see the visuals more the second time.
Yeah, right.
The camera
Uh,
work the second time. The first time I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I watching?
yeah, I guess that would be like the only reason why you would watch it twice.
Yeah,
Just be like,
you
I gotta
start a
get into
podcast
the
and
yeah.
yeah.
In terms of rating this movie, what would you end up rating it?
I have it. So I looked at my rating from the last time, and I gave it a 3.5. I would give it a 3.5 or a 4 because I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it enough to watch it twice, but for whatever reason, that ending of him transitioning to hell just really threw me off.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, I took off all that.
Actually, I gave it a 4, and I think it for me. I enjoyed that. That is, it is basically. I'm assuming I should
Hmm.
read up on it whether or not he is trying to like modernize Dante's Inferno. But Dante's Inferno is only one section of divine comedy and stuff. He goes through purgatory and then also heaven and stuff. But you almost kind of like if you believe in whatever happens afterwards, you almost assume that that better be where he's showing where he ends up at. Like, and
Like, don't end
so
up in the other
yeah,
place,
because
man.
like 61 people and stuff, but it's like
Yeah,
so I don't know. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, for how tough it is to watch, and you're probably only going to watch it once
Mm.
or twice. I have to give it a 4. It it hits you in a very emotional way, but it's not like, oh, I'm walking away with this and I feel happy and stuff, and I feel
Yeah,
like I liked what I watched. It's more of like, okay, like
it was
that's
enjoyable.
intense.
And yeah, like I enjoyed what I watched, but I don't want to see it again, or like I need some time before I watch this again.
It is gonna make me want to watch his other movies. He has other movies that are sort of like the same subject matter.
Okay, the Lars von
Melancholia
whatever.
is one that I want to watch,
Mm.
and he actually shows the ending to Melancholia in the movie, which is funny
Really?
because like yeah, he made Melancholia like in like 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and then he makes this one in 2018, and then
18.
like he shows like the ending of it and stuff. But
Hmm.
um, so I would like to, because there's a lot of movies that kind of like depict death and also
Mm-hmm.
like the whole concept of death. The Green Knight is one of them that kind of like comes to mind
Oh
too.
yeah.
That depicts death pretty well. And so this is like a different angle at it. That what happens when a horrible person dies.
Dies.
But yeah, I definitely say someone who enjoys movies and is it should watch this once. I think I would
Yeah.
say like you have to watch this once
Yeah.
and then be done with it. I
And
think.
I think you're right. I didn't think about like the movie lovers. Like movie lovers will enjoy it, but like you said, watch it the one time. If you really enjoy it, watch it again.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, movie lovers or people that are into like crime docu series should enjoy this.
I think so. Yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah, I'm glad you finally watched it.
Yeah, me too. And it's a good one for October. It probably will be fine for any other month, but
Yeah,
October was fun
October
for
was the yeah. That's the right time to watch it, not just on a
it.
random Sunday in
Yeah,
June.
right. All right, Kat, you want to take us out?
Yeah, thanks for joining us for another episode of Sunday Morning Hangover. Wow, it's been a while since I've said that. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week with another one. And please remember to subscribe and like the video.